All right, today we have another free-for-all titled Love and 8 Mile. We'll get to 8 Mile in a minute, but first, let's start with this tweet. So basically, this guy is saying that a lot of people say ChatGPT is very good at listening. However, he posits, no, ChatGPT is not good at listening. People are just really bad at listening because they have all this other stuff going on in their heads. And this makes me think about the gift of listening and how rare it truly is. And I think about all the times where someone will be telling me about something very important to them, and I'll just be thinking about what I'm trying to say next, or thinking about whatever else is going on in my life. And that's really convicting for me, because when I think about all the times where I felt the most loved, it's when I felt the most seen, with my flaws and everything. And that comes through listening over time in the context of a relationship. So when I think about the people who have loved me the best, they generally see the dumb things that I do, and they're like, oh, Luke. And because they've known me for a while, they get why I am the way that I am, sometimes more than I get it myself. But it's not just an understanding, it also comes with an accompanying call to do better, to step it up. And this call is generally well received by me in this context because I understand that these people have my best interest at heart when they correct me. So just the other day, I stayed up till 1 a.m. watching Impractical Jokers clips on YouTube. And then I told my dad about it the next day. I was like, yeah, that was really dumb. And he's like, yeah, that was a bad life move. And that critique was well received by me because I understood that he wanted me to do better. He had my best interest at heart. Whereas if someone else said that to me, someone who I didn't really know, I would probably be pretty annoyed. And I think that this is the same model that Jesus presents to Christianity in the Gospels. So let's take as a representative example the woman caught in adultery. So the Pharisees show up, they're like this gang, they're snapping, they're trying to get Jesus, and they're trying to trap him in his words. Like they got this trap card ready to go. And they bring her before him like she's cattle. They say, this woman has been caught in the act of adultery. They don't say anything else about her. They only see her for her sin. They do not recognize her as a person. They have not listened to her. And then Jesus points to the fact that all of us have sinned. He pulls an Uno reverse card on them and he says, let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her. He sees past the woman's sin and sees her for who she is. And through seeing her for who she is, he calls her higher. He says, neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, sin no more. It's this model of listen, love, and call higher. And it's presented in the Gospels, and I've also personally experienced it like I was describing before. And this kind of reminds me of my favorite line in, wait for it, 8 Mile. Eminem says in this rap battle, he says, don't ever try to judge me, dude. You don't know what the heck I've been through. He's basically pointing out that his opponent, in this case, Papa Doc, doesn't truly know him. And I think that this same recognition of an inability to judge, whenever possible, should be extended to others. I don't know what others are going through, and one way of loving them is recognizing that limitation. And hopefully, I can start to bridge that gap in my own life, but that requires shutting up and listening, which regrettably, I'm quite bad at. And I think as a Christian, this is one of the fundamental purposes of prayer, to spend time with Jesus and to recognize that I am loved. And it's through that love that I can better love others. When I listen to someone without being distracted and accept them for who they are, that is a great way of sharing the love that I have received. And I think it also enables me to better love myself and to have empathy for myself. Like when I look back on some of the dumb things that I've done, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's super cringe, like, ugh. But then I think about my past and all of the circumstances leading up to those things, and I'm like, yeah, I get how I got there. Like it doesn't excuse what I did for sure, but I get it. And that recognition helps me to grow an empathy and love for myself, which in turn helps me to do the same for others. And I think that love is so important because it enables me to become the person that I'm meant to become. When I know that I'm loved, I don't need to seek the attention or validation from others. When I think about the cringe things that I've done in the past that have been hurtful to others, I often realize in hindsight that those actions came from not truly believing that I am loved. I was seeking love in the wrong places. I was seeking cheap substitutes. As they say, hurt people hurt people. So I think it's such a gift to be able to listen to someone selflessly because love enables us to be better, but we can only give that gift when we have first received it ourselves. And perhaps by giving that gift, other people will be called higher as well. And another important thing about listening that I think it's a real sacrifice. Like it's difficult sometimes to listen to people. And I think that's a neat connection because I've talked about listening thus far as an act of love. And I think it's important to note a very important aspect of love is that it's intrinsically connected to sacrifice. So from a Christian perspective, this sacrificial love is best exemplified by Christ on the cross. And it's through this mini sacrifice of listening that I can grow more selfless and make others feel loved and enable them to also live beyond themselves. It's like this virtuous cycle of goodness. But then it raises the question, what about when that cycle is broken? What about when I turn away from that love and do things that are dysfunctional? What about when I'm not willing to sacrifice? And I don't have a complete answer to that question, but I think I can start to give a partial answer, and it comes from our friend, 8 Mile. So, one of my favorite parts of 8 Mile is in the final rap battle where Eminem starts roasting himself. He says, "This guy ain't no mother heckin' MC. I know everything he's got to say against me. I am a bum. I do live in a trailer with my mom." Because he's just like, look, yeah, I am pretty lame, actually. And it's through this self-roasting that he wins the rap battle despite going first because his opponent has nothing to use against him. And it very much brings to mind this fire verse from MC St. Paul where he's like, "Therefore I will boast all the more gladly in my weakness so that the power of Christ may rest upon me." Basically, the idea is like, yeah, duh, I'm going to screw up when I'm doing things on my own and when I'm not acting out of love. But conversely, by putting my own ego aside, I can allow myself to be moved by love. It's a great recognition that I am made for love, and without love, I am nothing. As St. John of the Cross says, at the evening of life, we shall be judged on our love. So yeah, maybe I am trash, but if I can be like Eminem and St. Paul and recognize that I'm trash and recognize that I don't have it figured out, but I can also recognize that I'm a loved piece of trash and it's only through that love that I am able to do anything good, then maybe, just maybe, I can win the rap battle. Anyways, there's obviously a much more to say on this issue, and I may not have said everything exactly as I should have, and also I'm 25, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But regardless, I hope that this video was helpful for you. That's all I've got for today. That, my friends, is our free-for-all, and without further ado, thanks for watching. Under the sea,